I'm 19 years old, and for as long as I can remember, my mother's side of the family has been a source of stress and conflict in my life. My mother herself struggles deeply, both mentally and physically. On some level, I understand it, because I share some of the same battles she does. But instead of handling her issues in a healthy way, she tends to lash out at those closest to her: me, my brother, and my stepdad. Growing up, there were always episodes. Sometimes she would throw things across the room when she was upset. Other times she would make threats about unaliving herself, saying things like she was not good enough for us, that we didn't appreciate her, that she was a failure as a wife and a mother. Those words were heavy to hear as a child, and they only became heavier as I grew older and understood more of what they meant. I was often told by my stepdad to just take it, to endure the yelling, the manipulation, the guilt trips, because that's just how your mother is. But I've learned that enduring pain isn't the same thing as being strong. It just leaves you wounded. Over time, the constant turmoil wore me down, and I reached a point where I knew I needed distance for my own mental health. That's when I started staying with my dad and his side of the family instead. My dad's family has been my anchor these past months. They've given me space to breathe, to feel safe, to build myself up again. I've been using this stability as a foundation to plan my next step: moving out with my partner. If everything goes according to plan, that will happen in a week or two. It feels scary, but in a good way, like freedom. And then, just a few days ago, my great-grandmother on my dad's side passed away. She was one of the few elders I felt a genuine bond with. I have memories of her taking care of me when I was little, brushing my hair and humming songs when her mind was still sharp. Losing her has left an ache, but it's an ache that comes with gratitude too. As a family, we decided to travel 4 hours away for a week to help with the funeral arrangements and to grieve together. It felt like the right thing to do, the only thing to do. We even have the funeral and viewing dates now. Here's where the conflict erupted. My mother's birthday happens to fall on the same day as the viewing. Her side of the family had been planning a birthday party for her, something cheerful and celebratory, on the exact day I needed to be at my great-grandmother's funeral. When my grandmother, my mom's mom, invited me and my brother to the party, I politely explained we couldn't come because of the funeral. I thought she would understand. Instead, she told me we should skip the funeral altogether. According to her, I've been ignoring my mom all summer, and my father's side of the family has put me last my entire life. Reading those words broke something in me. I couldn't hold it together. I broke down right in front of my dad's family, overwhelmed with frustration and this aching feeling that my voice doesn't matter, that I'm not important enough to simply say no. But my dad's family didn't hesitate. They wrapped me in hugs, led me to a quiet room, and let me cry until I could breathe again. For once, I felt heard. I felt loved. I felt like my pain mattered. When I was ready, I typed out my response to my grandmother. I told her no, that it was final. I explained that there will be other chances to celebrate my mom's birthday, but there is only one chance to say goodbye to my great-grandmother. Only one chance to grieve with the family who needs me there. I also told her I would be blocking her number, at least for now, because I needed peace of mind. For a few hours, I felt lighter, like I had finally chosen myself over the endless guilt trips. But the peace didn't last long. Soon after, my mother messaged me. She demanded that I unblock my grandmother, saying that what if a family emergency happened? Apparently, my grandmother would be the only one to tell me about it. Why her? Why only her? It didn't even make sense. My mom went on to say that if I missed an emergency, I'd feel horrible guilt, and that she couldn't handle me right now because she was in the hospital again. She said her mom, my grandmother, was just disappointed, but that it was understandable because she's still my baby. That hit me like another blow. Instead of respecting my boundaries, she twisted the knife of guilt even deeper. I didn't reply. I couldn't. I needed to step back before I drowned in it all. It's been a day since then, and I still haven't answered her. The truth is, I've wanted to go no contact with my mom for a long time. Her behavior has been damaging for years. But now, after this, I'm really considering it seriously. I keep thinking that after the funeral, I'll go back to the house just once, to collect the rest of my belongings, and then I'll be done. But even as I plan it, my chest feels heavy. I cry just thinking about it. The thought of cutting ties with my mother is painful, because there's a part of me that still wants her love, still wants her to be the mom I need. But I also know that every time I give her another chance, it ends the same way, with me feeling small, guilty, and broken. I don't know yet what I'll do, but what I do know is this. I will not miss my great-grandmother's funeral. I will not let guilt force me to abandon the people who actually show up for me. And I will not let anyone tell me that my grief is less important than someone else's party. Next story. My visit to my hometown hadn't gone too badly, all things considered. Parents will be parents after all. The food was great and time had gone by quickly enough. It was already the last night and there was some comfort in walking around the quiet, timeless, snow-covered streets of my childhood, knowing that tomorrow I would be far from it all, back in the big city where I now belonged. They roll up the tarmac here at 6, my father was fond of saying, and the quiet small-town streets, empty even though it was barely 7 p.m., bore him out. But it wasn't true to say nothing had changed, I thought, staring at the huge new statue in the town square, lit up in the evening by a complex arrangement of white lights. It was of a small, seated woman, a veil falling over her face, holding a giant cat like a baby. The cat, as big as a lion, appeared to be sleeping, although the look of despair on the woman's face as she stared down at the cat was intense enough to suggest otherwise. I think it's based on La Pieta, I said, turning to Luke, my childhood friend and companion for this early evening walk around downtown. Another change. He had become widowed since I was here last, and our parents' comedy attempts to throw us together was straight out of a Hallmark movie. Poor Mandy. She had been one of my close childhood friends, although we had drifted apart after I moved, and she embraced married life with Luke. I had been very sad to hear of the brutal car accident which took her too soon. What? Luke frowned. I Googled, trying to bring up the image of the famous statue of Mary and Jesus on my phone, but my internet wasn't working. Rural internet. Luke placed his hands on my shoulders, looking at me with such a deep expression that for a minute I thought he was actually going to deliver a line like, "Oh, Lisa, you've become too smart for your own good, with your fancy city ways." Instead, he said, "They become alive at midnight." My blood ran cold, radiating iciness outward, so I felt I was freezing solid, about to fall over and shatter on the stone-cold pavement. A car drove by, its harsh moving lights casting long moving shadows. Then we were alone again by the still white lights of the statue. I stepped back from Luke. He had been around all my life, but it suddenly occurred to me I didn't know much about him. I looked up at his shadowed face. He had turned and was staring at the statue. Luke? Mandy and her cat, the statue. They become alive at midnight. They walk about. He said it quite matter-of-factly. I cannot describe the terror surging in me. I just knew I had to leave. But Luke reached out again and gripped me tighter. It was an accident. Everybody knows that, everyone in town, the police said. That fucking cat, I wasn't going to run it over, but Mandy just ran out. I had told her to get rid of the goddamn cat. We were trying to have kids, you know. Everyone knows cats make women barren. But then she died. And they went and put this stupid statue which walks around. I don't even know where the goddamn cat went. I looked for it. I would have taken care of it for Mandy's sake. She loved that damn creature so much. So did I. I wouldn't have run it over. For you believe me, don't you, Lisa? His voice shrill. His strong fingers dug into my shoulders. Later, I would find perfect circular bruises on my shoulders, but in the moment, I didn't feel the pain. I was just trying to parse the torrent of words which had flooded my brain. Please, Luke. You have to stay and watch them come alive with me, cried Luke. I know you will see them too. Mandy loved you. She was always talking about you. She wanted to come visit you. You'll understand, I'm not the only one seeing them. Let me go, I cried, struggling to break free from his hands. Whoosh! Something large knocked Luke over, breaking his grasp. He fell backwards, away from me. I heard his screams mixed with the yowls of a cat. I paused for an instant and saw the silhouette of a large cat at Luke's throat. I was deeply confused. It wasn't midnight? But surely I wasn't thinking the statue was alive. Idiotically, I looked over at the town square, but the white lights were dark now, and I couldn't see. Luke was trying to peel the cat away from him. Run! I whipped around and a small familiar woman walking swiftly away. I hesitated no more. I turned and ran towards the safety of my parents' place, my heels clacking on the empty, deserted pavements, leaving the howls and screams behind me. I never saw Luke again before I left early morning the next day.